oldest city. This guided walking tour brings eerie legends and unique historical facts to life. I met up with Brad Blair and Tim Ellis for a chilling tour and some hair-raising tales from the shadows.
Ghosts have a very specific spooky behavior. How are you guys attuned to that? How much research did you do to kind of make this come to life?
Oh man, we've been doing this since we were kids. Tim and I have been friends since the first grade. We were always the creepy kids at school. We were the ones that would stand off in the playground and tell ghost stories, and some of the kids would gravitate towards us. A lot of them stayed away. Yeah. They didn't want anything to do with us, but we kind of started there with the whole just the local legends and urban myths that were going around the area, and we built to the point where when we were teenagers and got our driver's license and bikes, we would go around to the different cemeteries, abandoned homes, things that, don't try this at home kind of thing. But back then, that was kind of our whole, I guess, feeling our way into the paranormal field.
Yeah. When you dig into this, what were some of the surprising things you found?
Well, even the ship that we're next to right now, as Brad and I grew up here at the Valley Camp, this was always part of our backdrop of our hometown, but we never really heard ghost stories about it until we started to do our research as adults and writing our first book and just kind of doing the research of the town. And that's when the ghost stories really started to come out. And then our team was lucky enough to investigate it a few times. And during that, we captured our own experiences and EVPs and pictures. So, it's just really neat to grow up in a town that you think you know everything about. But then when you really start to dig into the research, all these new stories and lives start to come to life for it. Yeah.
So you guys walk a fine line too, because you're family friendly. So you're going to have some little ins along for some of the tours. How do you tailor the stories to make sure you're not spooking too much?
I think we got to kind of put that into the hands of our wonderful tour guide, and Mare, who goes by Nyte Mare. She will kind of feel out the tour and understand if there's some of the younger ones, maybe she'll leave some of the gore out or some of the scarier stories or tone it down a bit. So it's really in her hands, and we trust her, and she's doing a great job.
Yeah. And, she wears the persona very nicely, and I think that's a wonderful addition to it, especially when you're doing a walking tour. I've been on, like the hearse tours of some towns, and it's more hyperbole than it is, fact, maybe.
Right, and I think that's kind of one of the things Brad and I pride ourselves on with this tour, too, is that it is steeped in actual research and history, in dates and events.
Yeah, so it's like being in a history class.
Yeah.
I got to remember dates. You didn't tell me that.
To a point, yes. I mean, we obviously have put some of our own research and some of our own notes and some legend into it.
Yeah.
And because there's a fine line in some points between history and legend, especially dealing in a town this age.
Yeah. When you look at, your tour, it's not all just ghosts. It's a lot of the history, too. And it really kind of makes you, be proud to be from a town like this, right? I mean,
it really is.
I mean, what is living in Sault Ste. Marie for you?
Well, growing up as a kid here, and I left for school and was lucky enough to come back to do my career here in a town I love. But, just growing up and watching the 1,000-footers cut right through our downtown, is a pretty amazing thing to watch. And then the history alone, I'm a huge history buff. Brad is too. So to have the history that we're surrounded with and to be able to call ourselves the oldest settlement in the state of Michigan, I mean, that's a pretty cool crown to wear.
Yeah. Totally.
Sault Ste. Marie Haunts and History Tour serves up spine-tingling thrills and just the right dash of mischief with a whole lot of fun. Bring your bravest friends and family and keep moving, because you never know what might be lurking in the shadows.